keeps on leaving and we keep on moving. When do we pass on our wisdom to the youth? My veteran story, lost arts discussions, fireside chats with a bourbon or two. It's time to hear the stories by our military veterans. Get yourself ready, it's the Lost Arts Podcast. The Lost Arts with Andrew Cox.
Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Podcast, that podcast that's giving a voice to our veterans. On today's episode, we'll be having a fireside chat where we're going to be discussing Healing with Horses Ranch out of Manor, Texas. But before we get into the episode, are you enjoying the podcast? Then consider becoming a TLA patron. That's a Lost Arts patron. It's through donations that we're able to continue recording podcasts and getting our veteran voices out for all to hear. Just go to the Lost Art website and click on the Become a Patron link at the top. If becoming a TLA patron doesn't work for you and you would rather give a one-time donation, then go to the Lost Art website and scroll down until you see the donations link. Any donation is appreciated. And if you'd like to become a guest on the podcast, then email me at thelostartwithandrewcox@gmail.com. And as always, we have merchandise for sale as well. So if you want to support us and spread the word about the podcast, then click on the merchandise tab and you'll be able to find some good merchandise. All right, with that, we have Patty with us today. And Patty, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. I'm excited to hear about what you got going on down there. Let's kind of give me a brief overview real quick of your organization and what you're doing there.
Okay. We are a 501c3 nonprofit therapeutic riding center. We give riding lessons and equine assisted services to children and adults with physical challenges, emotional challenges, learning challenges, behavioral challenges. And the reason I'm here is we also have a program for our veterans, first responders and active duty military that is free to them, because I wanted to thank them for keeping me safe and keeping our nation safe. So bottom line, that's what we do. Yeah.
Okay. I like that. And it's free for the veterans, you said. So that is incredible. So thank you on behalf of the veterans. I want to say thank you for doing that. That's incredible. So if I'm an individual and I want to go out to your ranch and I want to do this, what is the best way for somebody to do that?
The best way is to fill out an application. You're going to get on our website, www.healingwithhorsesranch.org. There's a link right on the front page to fill out an application. You're going to see some things that say there's a wait list, and which we do have a wait list for our regular programming, but we have a very small wait list, if any, for our veterans, because the veterans groups are group lessons of up to 10 individuals at a time. So fill out the application, and we need to have a physical when you start riding, but we are a riding and groundwork program. And that's about it. You get contacted by our client coordinator, and she'll say, what session do you want to come to? Monday night, Saturday night, or Monday morning?
Very cool.
Yeah.
So if I'm a veteran, I show up, I was accepted, I come into one of your classes, and kind of walk us through what's going to happen. What is the process here?
So we do an intake, and that's where we're going to talk, and I'm going to find out how you found us, what goals you want to work on, what challenges you might have. I will emphasize that I am not a counselor. I'm not a physical therapist. I'm not a speech therapist. I'm not no medical training. I am a PATH International advanced instructor, and our program is not counseling per se. The horses kind of do that work for us. But so when I ask why you're here, it's not that the deep dive. It's just a superficial, yes, I have PTSD. Yes, I have anger issues. Yes, I'm struggling to reintegrate back into my home life after being away for being deployed. And then we'll take a little tour of the ranch so that you can meet some of the horses, and that's where I kind of figure out what horses attracted to you, tell you a little bit about horse safety, and a little bit about what the horses need from us when we turn up in the program. And then we start. It's a 2 to 2.5 hour program typically, depending on the number of people there and how much time I have to spend doing the basics versus actually getting out there and riding. And then we'll select a horse, and you'll start learning how to groom and lead your horse. So that's kind of our week one. I get to know you. I get to feel out, are you going to listen to what I have to say, or are we still in shutdown? Are you afraid of horses? Are you overconfident around the horses? So I get to feel it out a little bit. I have 3 other instructors working in the veterans programs. And then the next week, if we have your physical, we'll kind of do the same thing. We'll go out to the field, get your horse, see if they want to work with us. Bring them in, check in with the horse, groom and tack up, and then we start learning how to ride. During all of this, we're working on our check-in is really a mindfulness activity where we're just breathing with the horse and touching them and feeling their warmth and being able to smell their body, and it gets you present, it gets you here. Oftentimes, and it's fun to watch for me because I can tell when a new veteran coming into the program has lost their focus or got distracted by something, because the horse will start acting, wiggling around while they're grooming them, or maybe even try and bite them a little bit. It's not an aggressive bite, but it's a, hey, yo, pay attention here. And they definitely get your attention back to being here. And I'd love to share that this is the 1 2-hour period of your week that you really can't be thinking about your work or your home life or how you got in an argument with your wife or all the work that you have to get done tomorrow. You have to be right here. That's what makes the horses feel safe, and it helps you, and they help you bring you back to right here. But you can't change what happened yesterday, and we have no idea what's happening tomorrow, but we can affect what's happening right now.
Yeah, so just be in the present, and that way the horses, they know you're there, and those types of things. That's really cool.
They feel safe.
So say that one more time.
And they feel safe. They that's what they need in the herd setting. They need somebody to be paying attention to their surroundings so that they can relax and graze. So that's what they need.
Yeah, very good. So, and you've been doing this for how long now?
I have been a Path International instructor since 2004. I started volunteering at a different center in 2000, and I started Healing with Horses Ranch in 2011, and started giving lessons here in 2012. So I've been doing this a long time. I've had horses pretty much all my life. And that experience pays off because I have learned how to interpret what a horse's movement means, what their ear position means, what, and I can kind of figure out and predict what they're going to do based on my experience.
Yeah, very cool. And that's one heck of an experience there. It's a long time, which is great.
It's a long time.
Yeah. So as you are doing this and you're seeing the veterans, what is it that you kind of see as they are progressing through what's going on? I guess kind of what is the change that you see and have seen over the years as you're doing it?
It's funny that you asked that, because it's not probably the answer any veteran wants to hear, but I see confidence blossoming. So these veterans who have seen a lot of stuff,
yeah,
come here and it's almost like they're beaten down. They are afraid to do it wrong. They don't want to hurt the horse, which I love, but they're afraid to say no. They're afraid to give direction, which is weird from a civilian's point of view. That's what you guys do best. But it is
right.
a new environment with big animals, and so I see a confidence, a learning how to communicate their needs, not just to the horses, but to me as well. Not being afraid to ask for help, which I think is huge. And then I start seeing them wanting to give back, and they'll come out and start volunteering. And we have 3 or 4 veterans that are volunteering a lot of hours every week, which I love. Again, I know that they are getting something out of it as well, but it helps the ranch out too when they come out and volunteer. Plus, they're getting more experience, and they're starting to communicate with other people better. So yeah, I think that's the biggest change that I see.
Yeah, that is kind of strange, at least in my mind, that the confidence factor plays a big role, or that's what they get out of, or what you're seeing. What are some of the veterans like? What are their feedback after they've gone through the program? I know you said some come back and help you out and volunteer and stuff, but what types of things do they say?
Well, they get mad at me when I cancel because of life happening. That's not really true. They don't get mad at me, but they say, "Don't cancel," which is
right.
Because they're enjoying coming out here. They get to be out here in nature. It's relaxing to them. They love being able to give back to others. I have one that you may meet. They haven't come over here yet, but tonight, that has become an instructor and equine specialist through Path International. So not only is he giving back, but he is now employed here as an instructor, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Let me see what else. They get a sense of peace. They can breathe again, and they want to keep coming out. They don't want to stop coming out. So our program isn't just a 10-week program. It's come out and as long as you feel like you're benefiting from it, keep on coming.
Right.
And it will always be free for you.
That's awesome. So the horses themselves, like they're not doing, there's nothing special in their training necessarily or anything, correct? They're
veterans. They're specifically chosen for our program, which is adaptive riding, basically. They are basically very calm horses. They're not they're pretty docile. they tend to like to be with people. And then we do when we get a horse in, we have a 30-day trial where we do some mock lessons, and we make sure that they are comfortable with the things that we typically do. Like we have an obstacle course that has a bridge that they have to walk over, and tires that they walk over, and noodles that they have to walk through. If they're asked to walk through it and then they want to jump into the next county, they're probably not going to work here. So they have to be pretty calm. But they all have their own personalities, their own likes and dislikes. They need to be listened to and heard. Otherwise, we get behavior issues. We have one big old draft horse right now that isn't feeling very heard, and so you go to touch him and he wants to bite you, but there's nothing hurting him. So I can change that answer from a no to a yes, but I've got to get other people doing that too. And that's one of the reasons, as my veterans gain experience, they end up helping to train the horses and check out their behaviors, because they've gained that much experience, and eventually they'll be my horse trainers is my goal.
Right. Yeah. Very cool. So with the horses specifically and the veteran, is it like one-on-one, like one horse and they keep the same horse, or do they work with multiple horses? Like, how's that work?
They mostly work with the same horse, unless there's an injury or a medical procedure that happened that day, and then they have to switch horses. And sometimes they don't want to, and they opt to work on the ground with their horse, because they have developed a partnership and really like working with that horse. And that consistency is important to them, and they still need it. But as they grow, as they become more comfortable with change, then they might try out a new horse. They probably won't like it as much because it's different, but that's okay. They start branching out and trying different horses, but we try to keep them with the same horse as much as possible.
Right. So the one of the things that interests me about the whole thing is just the calmness that they can get from the horses when things are going right, or when they're doing what they need to do right. And I find that very interesting. And I'm sure you could speak much better on like temperament of horses and how you interact with them, and how that kind of develops.
Yeah, it's interesting. There is scientific evidence about it, and I'm not the scientific evidence quoter, but they can feel our heartbeat 4 to 10 feet away from us. So they can feel us from a distance, which is really cool. And they are very much sentient beings. They have feelings, they have emotions. And the one thing they need from us is honesty, which I don't know about you, but I can make a guess that you fake it a lot, so that people see how calm and confident and tough and all you are. Well, the horses don't get that. Your insides aren't matching your outsides. You're not being congruent. And that makes them anxious, because the prey animal in them, as predators, predators fake it. They lay still and they act like they're dead, and then they pounce on the prey. So I think that's why they need this congruence. And so if you come in angry, horses don't care how you handle that anger. They care about. They don't want to be hit. They don't want to be yelled at around, and have high voices. But you're allowed to be angry. You're allowed to be scared. You're allowed to be anxious, you're allowed to be excited and happy. You get to feel what you feel, and it's okay. And you don't even have to verbalize it out loud. So if you didn't want me to know that you were scared shitless, I mean, scared a lot,
It's
you
okay.
wouldn't have to say that, but you could be thinking that. And that horse, hopefully you're not scared of the horse, because the horse will be attracted to you because it's real. It's your insides are matching your outsides. Um, and so yes, they need confidence. When you're riding, you need to say, we're going down this trail. Well, I don't want to go down this trail because I see a rattlesnake down there.
Mhm.
So let's turn this way. And you have to be confidently saying, we're turning. Got to take off the question mark is my favorite line right now.
I
Take
like
off
that.
the question mark and just do it. Um, and that gains with experience, right? So yeah, you're allowed to have your feelings, which is nice. You've been hiding them and masking it for so many years. That's
Yeah,
a
very true.
really bizarre thought.
Yeah,
I hate
that's
it.
I really like what you're talking about there. But so, what types, like when you're thinking of people that would come there, veterans that would come there, what is have you seen a wide variety of different veterans come through, or is it kind of the same type of things? Or
It's pretty typical of there's PTSD, obviously. I've seen unfortunately a lot of sexual trauma from women. Um, and I've we've worked with uh, a a couple TBIs, couple amputations, and we just work around it. But it's mostly the emotional stuff, anxiety, PTSD. Um, yeah.
okay, yeah, that makes sense. What what are some of the uh, well, how am I going to say this? Um, what are some of the benefits from the individuals? What like as they're going through it? What types of things do they get?
They get to breathe. They get to be present. They start learning skills to cope with the anxiety. Um, uh, and that might be going outside, being out in nature, hearing the birds cawing over your head. I don't know
Yeah,
if you can hear them.
I can. Yeah.
Um, it so learning some of those coping skills that they have learned, but you get to practice it here in real life. I don't know where they are, but they are mad. Um,
Funny.
so yeah, I think that's the biggest gain. There's cognitive function that it helps fine motor skills and gross motor skills, so it helps keep you in shape. And so they're seeing that they're the they're able to ride longer. They're able to do bigger skills like trotting and cantering. Um, they work on that, their fine motor planning. When do I ask for a whoa? When do I ask for a turn? When do I ask to trot or canter? And getting all of those that most are fine, aren't challenged by that, but those that are, it is definitely beneficial. Um, it, I worked with a woman that was had an amputation on her leg, and it was helping her kind of relearn how to walk. Her, have that motor memory, because the horses move us in this elliptical figure 8 motion, which is how we
Mhm.
walk. So it helps
Right.
you remember how to walk if you've already learned how to walk.
Wow.
So that's kind of cool too.
Yeah, there's some amazing things that's coming out of there, and I didn't realize how good it was for people to go and do this type of therapy. It's a definitely fascinating thing for me.
Yeah, it really is amazing. Even if you're not a horse person, but you want to get outside, I really would encourage you. There are lots and lots of Path International centers throughout the nation, throughout the it's international now, so you'll find it there's places in Mexico and China and England and Ireland. I'm sure there's other places too. But every state has at least one Path International Center. So I would encourage you to go and find it. They are, it's not unusual for it to be free to veterans, which does mean that you have to raise money for that, because it's not that it doesn't cost us anything. It's just a service that we want to provide because of the service you have provided. So yeah, I would encourage you to go and look for them. A center, a Path International Center, therapeutic riding is what it's typically called, adaptive riding, and see if they have a veterans program and sign up. People ask how long you're in it. I've been working with horses for 50 years, and I'm still receiving benefits from them.
Yeah.
So I definitely would encourage it.
Awesome. Now you did just mention something, and because you are doing it for the veterans, it is free. Which you said, yes, there is a cost associated with that. Now, do you do fundraising? What types of things do you have?
Well, in May, we're having our ungala. We call it. We had a gala the past 2 years. We're bringing it back to the ranch, so we're calling it an ungala because it's going to be in a tent out here under the trees. I think it's going to be nicer than any of the venues that we've been at. But that is specifically for our Unbridled Warrior program, which is our veterans, first responders, and active duty military service or program. And we do fundraising. We just ended our donation derby where each of our horses compete against each other to raise the most money. And so that helps provide care for them, which is probably our biggest cost for running a program. But we also have staff that we pay. We have our Path International instructors, equine specialists. We do have 2 counselors on staff, and then our support staff, our volunteer coordinator and our equine coordinator, and our fundraising director.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, sorry, a mosquito was trying to fly into my face while I was coming up with all. So, and then our facility costs are, I have big dreams of developing, creating another a covered round pen with offices that we can have our counseling sessions in there, so it's a little bit more private, and then there's always things that need to get done. More fencing, the horses break fencing.
Yeah.
We need a horse trailer. So fundraising will always be a part of us. Even our veterans don't pay anything, but no one pays more than about 50% of what it costs us to operate. So,
Wow.
yeah, we're always looking for donations. So if anybody wants to make a donation, please feel free. find it on our website. And we appreciate every dollar that anybody donates.
Very much so. Yeah.
My camera just a little bit. I know that I see horses coming towards us.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see them riding toward us. Right now it's
Okay.
one
Yeah.
veteran
I see
and
them.
the instructor. There's a Gold as our Palomino quarter horse. Actually, I think he's a paint, really. And Dash was a police horse that failed because he didn't like going downtown Austin at night.
I can
So
understand.
David is one of our veterans, but he is also a PATH certified instructor. And Katie is the other instructor. So they're working on getting their horses to listen to where they want them to go. And they're just walking, enjoying the beautiful evening here. It's about 70 degrees. Sorry.
And you said these two individuals, you said they're the instructors?
The woman in purple is an instructor, and David is also an instructor, but he is part of our veterans program.
Got it.
So he is also a participant.
Yeah. Man, I like riding horses and going out and doing stuff, and I could see how that could be very therapeutic, and that's a great thing that you got going on. So I'll definitely make sure that we push this and try and get you guys some donations and fundraising stuff, and that's because this is a great cause. You're doing great things for veterans, so it's incredible. Especially you're doing it for free for the veterans, which is incredible.
Well, my dad was I'm an Air Force brat. My dad was in the Air Force he was a lifer. And he was so proud of being in the military that it caused pride in myself. So I come at starting this in a little bit different outlook than veterans, because I'm the child of a veteran. And that, there was lots of positives, but there were also lots of negatives. And so, I heal from my own trauma, moving every 2 or 3 years, not being able to make friends, or maintain those friendships it is tough on the children of military. And there's also a lot of pride that I have in being there, and I wanted to give back. And when my father passed away, because he did not share all of his experiences, he kind of relived them. And there were times when he was dying that he was in prisoner of war training, and he'd reach for our hand and try and break our fingers, because that's what he was trained to do to survive. And I wish that he had an avenue to share his stories, kind of like what you're doing, so that he didn't have to bottle them up and keep them inside. It's the service that he provided, that you provided. There is nothing to be ashamed of. You should be shouting your stories to the world with pride, even though some of it was scary and ugly. Don't keep it in. You got to share it. Otherwise, it's going to haunt you, and I don't want it to haunt you.
Yeah, no, that's great advice, and I totally agree with that. And that, like you said, this is one of the reasons that I'm doing the podcast. And there's been several. One individual that I got your information from, actually, he's been on here and he's told his story. But every time a new veteran comes on, I get a new excitement just from hearing those stories, and I think it's therapeutic for everybody, especially me. It's therapeutic for me.
Yeah, it's important that you talk about it, and if you can't talk about it with your family, because you don't want to scare them, you don't want them to hear what you experienced, share it with somebody. You gotta let it go. Otherwise it will haunt you forever.
Yeah,
So,
very true. Very true. Well,
yeah.
hey, is there anything else that you want to kind of discuss or bring up or uh, anything like that? Or
No, I just again, our website is Healing with Horses Ranch, all one word, .org. On there, you'll learn how to sign up for services, a little bit about what we do, and you'll see that name Path International. If you're not in the Austin area, you'll find other Path centers. You can go to their website and find more information about other centers that are providing services for veterans, and donate it if you can. We appreciate it.
very cool. Real quick, what is PATH? I'm assuming that's
Path International is the Professional Association for Therapeutic Horsemanship International. And we are a premier center, and which means that we follow, I don't know how many standards that they have, 200 standards, and we try to provide the safest, most comprehensive services that we can.
right. Very good. Well, hey, I thank you for coming on, and thanks for sharing this story and your organization that you got there. It's fantastic. I hope sometime I'll be able to get down and see it in person.
That would be great.
So,
I'd love to have you.
yeah, I'll be traveling the country here very soon, so I want to try and get down that way. I'm from Oklahoma, so I'm not too far away where I actually grew up. So, but yeah, I'm going to hit you up and try to come down there at some point, and
That would
maybe
be great.
we can do a live podcast down there or something like that.
Yeah, that would be great.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks again for coming on. To all the listeners out there, thanks for tuning in. If you can help out, please help out. Go to their website. Again, that is healingwithhorsesranch.org. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, good. I got it right. So yeah, go there, look at their website. If you can help, please help them out. Their veterans are for free there. They get to go do all the stuff. You've heard the story, but it's a great organization. So again, thanks for being on. To all the listeners out there, if you're struggling, you're having a hard time, anything like that, please reach out for help. You can always dial 988 and press option 1. They're going to put you in contact with somebody that's going to be able to help you out. If you don't want to do that, you'd rather text, you can text 838-255. Again, that's 838-255. Same thing. They're going to put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. And if you'd rather chat online, you can always go to veteranscrisisline.net. And on there's a chat icon. All you got to do is click that. You can type in whatever it is that you need to type in. It's all anonymous, and you only tell them what you want to tell them. But the VA is there to help you, and that's part of their programming. So please reach out. One veteran's life lost is one too many. I care about you. I know Patty and everybody down there cares about you. So please reach out for help. With that, again, thank you for coming on. And to all the listeners, stay motivated, change your socks.